Greetings, everyone. Welcome once again to the Oz and Crew Reviews podcast. I am your host, Ozzy Arcane. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mad Matt.
I can use this once again. I'd buy that for $1.
We are unfortunately Ojunix tonight. He had reasons he's not available, so he won't be joining us for the next episode either because it'd be kind of weird to just miss the third
Yeah,
movie and show up for the fourth.
it'd be weird to miss out on it, and we don't want to try and force any information out of him that he won't be prepared for since he hasn't seen it recently.
But this is Robocop Prime Directives Resurrection, which correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but I don't remember any resurrecting happening in this.
Well, actually, the both RoboCops actually go on commission for a while in this episode.
That is true. I guess
A-
you could view it that
And
way.
Murphy in particular has gotten a whole new lease on life again.
But generally speaking, when you hear the word resurrection, you're expecting like,
You're expecting someone to actually die and then come back.
or
And
or
technically that doesn't happen, but they
you know,
kind of get close to it.
or at least the return of someone who's been out of action for a while, which I guess you could kind of like count the main villain of this movie into that, which we'll get to him in a moment.
That too, I suppose.
This plot was convoluted as fuck compared to the previous ones, so I am gonna let you handle the synopsis of what the fuck we just watched.
All right, so picking up basically right where we left off, the RoboCops are still making run for their money, but they're being chased down by the mercenaries. Which, yes, this program that they were talking about is the mercenaries because they make that a little more clear this episode, and still it makes no sense.
Yeah, they are.
Um,
System support is literally a group of mercenaries that work for OCP. They actually confirmed that they work for OCP, but for some reason, the
they don't like
CEO,
using them.
the CEO was completely unwilling to use them like they're cutthroat, horrible monsters. It's like, then why are you paying them? That's probably part of the reason you're having financial issues. You're paying employees you refuse to use for anything.
Um, So Kane manages to get Murphy into some cover and has a huge shootout with these guys. Awesome stuff. First time we see some bloody squibs too in in these episodes.
You called him Kane. It's John Cable.
Oh, Cable. I keep calling him. Yeah, I keep calling him Kane for some weird reason. Cable. Cable goes out and has a fight with them, and it's the first time we see some blood squibs on some enemies. This is a little more action packed than the previous episodes, but there's some downtime for some stuff that happens too. Um, long story short, after this fight out, OCP wants both RoboCops terminated completely, no questions asked. And despite what he has learned, James, is it Murphy, wants to make sure that the RoboCop with his father's body parts in it is terminated because he feels like it's wrong. Because as far as he's aware, his father doesn't even exist inside that shell anymore.
Right.
Which to some degree he's not wrong from what we find out. While this whole shootout is happening, Murphy gets picked up by the three electronics thieves that were in OCP earlier. They take them along to some sort of, like, I guess you call it a car garage, and they help shut him down and help repair him. As they're going about their duties of repairing him, replacing broken parts, getting the components that they need that are hard to find, they find out that one of his synapses has been completely cut off, which is what's left of his frontal lobe. To which they're like, well, that could mean a lot of different things, including long-term memory, but it could also mean a lot of other things that could cause you harm and maybe even fry your system if there's too much input. To which he demands to finally have all of his mind working. And there's several moments of him screaming and panicking as everything that's happened in the previous movies has come rushing back to him. In particular, the events of the first movie as he's being shot down and fighting with Clarence Bonniger. And then he shuts down temporarily for a while of his own volition. And after a while, he finally comes back. And as he seems to have been fully repaired, his status is actually at 109%. So he is better than he's ever been before.
The best thing about that scene is when the Asian girl out of the group asks him how
Yeah.
he's feeling, and he actually says, "Damn good." Like,
Yeah, I'm good. And he even gets a little smirk.
yeah, that's the most optimistic, energetic we've ever heard RoboCop talk.
He gets to find out that they have a car on standby that they've been planning as a getaway car, but might be their biggest way to get over to OCP as quickly as possible. And that they want to make sure that the little girl manages to get away somewhere safely, and possibly one of the girls will have to stay back and protect her.
Right. And
Um,
and we've already run into a point where a problem with how convoluted this plot is, because I now have to to remind you we have to go back and explain what happened with
I
John
was gonna go
Cable.
back.
Yeah. Well,
So at this point, going back, cookie. So going back to when Murphy got picked up, after Cable is done with his fight out, he realizes that Murphy's been taken, and then suddenly gets cornered by the goon mercenaries and gets hammered, literally hammered.
yeah, they take like 3 sledgehammers to him to just beat him down.
But then something zooms in and starts electrocuting them and sending them in all directions. And he wakes up a while later inside of like what I guess you can consider a cathedral. It's a CGI church on the outside and a room with draperies everywhere on the inside with a few weird yellowish lights. What was his name for this movie?
David Kadick.
David Kadick is the man who saved him. He is a ex-medical doctor who was basically fired because from OCP because of the controversial and horrific things he was doing medically.
Which tells you
And
something about how bad what he's doing has to be if OCP decides it's too bad.
it's too risky, yeah. And it also has something to do with mechanical stuff as well as messing with the people's minds. To which he does make a kill switch for Cable. If he charges it up high enough, he'll fry Cable's brain, essentially,
Yeah.
and kill him.
And without turning it up all the way, he can still just cause him intense pain, so he'll crack and do what he's told.
Yeah. So he basically forces Kane to work for him, and with a little more convincing and kind words, he's also like, well, LCP doesn't care about you. Nobody cares about you. You're a dead man. You're a ghost. You're a ghost inside of a machine, and I'm the only person that gives a damn. Even though I have a chip inside of your head, I want your help, and I need your help to get something done. I want to reboot the world! Because he's a manic maniac who's created a virus called Legion, which is supposed to be a computer virus, but somehow this thing, after it becomes a computer virus, can also go airborne and attacks people like a regular virus and will just basically melt people away.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that works. That sounds really, really dumb. And it would have actually been a lot better if they just stuck with the main virus idea because it manages to, once he finally gets the signal, which is, by the way, somehow in the cybernetics of his daughter, which is the little girl that's been with the 3 women all this time, he manages to get Legion online and working and sends it to a signal, which he manages to send over to Saint, which becomes corrupted with the partial bit of signal that it got. It got like about 30% of the Legion virus,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
But Robocop manages to show up in time to knock out the satellite. There's another huge gunfight. Murphy manages to defend James, his son, for a few moments before they once again have to split ways. And it finally comes to head between James and Murphy, where Murphy will full helmet off, look him in the eyes and go, "If you're gonna kill me, look into my eyes, your father's eyes, and kill me, because I'm finally back and I can finally talk to you now. But there's other things going on here, and we don't need to kill more people right now."
Yeah.
And he finally convinces James to step down, deactivate the EMP he was about to set off, and I guess technically in the meantime he's convincing his son to come with him to go to OCP and stop what's about to go down.
Yeah.
As they're possibly chasing after Kane, David, and the virus-infected girl to go over there and continue and/or stop what's happening already at OCP.
It
Not
is.
to mention OCP itself being the problem.
It is funny you keep accidentally calling him Kane because of the fact that they're both characters that became RoboCop 2.
Yeah. Also, I think David was also Kane in Forever Night. I can't remember for sure now. I had to look at that. What was his name on Forever Night again?
I don't know.
Um,
Interesting thing to note about I'm probably going to butcher pronouncing this.
Garrett Wynn Davies.
He is yet another actor that is in these movies that was also in Kung Fu: The Legend Continues.
He
That's
was
like,
also in the Robocop TV series, which also makes him one to win, one with Maurice Dean Winch, who plays Cable in these episodes.
there's a lot of
They were both in Kung Fu, and they were both in the Robocop TV
yeah.
series for different characters.
There's a lot of weird things we noticed where a lot of the cast in this they were either in Kung Fu: The Legend Continues, the Robocop TV series, or they did a voice on the X-Men animated series, or in some cases all three. It's kind of a weird crossover with other projects that like it's not a thing we see very often. Like I can't think of a movie we've reviewed where we're going through and like, oh, all these actors were in a bunch of other things as well that are all the same. We've never really had that happen before.
No, not to this level, at least for sure. Oh, he was also in an episode of Highlander, the TV series.
Yeah. But the thing I remember I pointed out to you when we were looking through his IMDb is he did a voice in a video game for another
Oh,
terrible movie that we reviewed.
that we've reviewed, which is Aragon. He played one of the essentially the Dwarf King, which never had any lines in the movie.
Yeah. So he voiced the character Hrothgar, which I have to admit is actually a relatively decent sounding name for a character from Aragon, considering that movie wasn't all
Limited
that
Duck in that
great.
movie was, yeah. So it's obviously a name that maybe came from the books.
But it's one of those things where it's weird. Where it's like, I'm like, why didn't they get the actual actor to voice him for the game? And then I looked up the character, and I'm like, oh, it's because that character didn't even talk, so it doesn't really matter if they got the actual actor to voice him. This guy's probably a better voice actor than that person was, anyhow.
Possibly. Especially since he's also still acting. Good on
Yeah,
you.
and like in this, he's got a zany kind of villain energy that, like I mentioned, reminds me of like the Hercules and Xena TV shows.
Oh,
Like,
I keep mixing up this guy actually. I keep thinking he's the villain from Forever Night. He's actually the main hero.
oh, well, I mean, he played a villain so well, you just probably assumed he did it more than once.
Still, he's a very conflicted character in Forever Night anyways, since he's a cop that's constantly fighting with his vampirism.
So,
So, yeah.
what do you think overall of his character in this so far, other than the really stupid Legion virus plot?
Outside of this really stupid plot he's sadly saddled with, I think he's got really good energy. He's got really good energy, almost campy, but he manages to pull it back from being too much, which is saying something because some of the stuff in here can get pretty hammy once in a while. He feels like he could be a really good villain again if they would just give him a better plot to be tied to. If they would have made the Legion virus more of a normal Legion, like a normal computer virus, then I would totally believe in this guy being this a crazy like computer scientist who needs to be stopped
Like
and has a whole bunch of cybernetics on his hands.
they really had such an easy hook for this storyline if they just looked at other things, because it would have been so easy. Because with them infecting Saint, which is the AI that OCP is building, that they're planning on putting in charge of the entire city, with the idea of it infecting Saint, you could have easily hinted at the idea of it becoming something akin to Skynet from Terminator, because it would have
And with
control
and
over
with,
the whole city.
yeah, and with the fact that technically in some joint ventures out there, there has been a crossover, would have been actually a really good idea to actually go with, but for some reason they decided to lean away to it and do this weird hokey. The virus is also a real virus thing, which doesn't make any sense.
I feel
Somehow somehow always the robotic digital stuff will affect the real world somehow, some way, maybe.
And then I'm glad that that's kind of like a plot idea that has dropped off from movies and stuff as technology has kind of grown. Like they're not getting these weird ideas. Technology will someday be able to do this thing that's literally fucking impossible. Like the only way something like Legion I could see feasibly having an effect on living people is if they were all plugged into machines in some sort of situation similar to the Matrix.
Yeah, then it would like Borg them or something.
That's the only way I could see that making any sense. But we're not in
Aside
that
of
kind of sci-fi setting.
outside of again like what happened to the boardroom where they suffocated them, yeah,
Yeah,
and gave them fake heart attacks.
I feel like there was some sort of reference to the previous movies that popped up in this, but I'm drawing a blank as to what it was now that we're actually talking about it.
There was the I'll buy that for a dollar sign over the
Yeah,
garage where they were
yeah.
fixing Robo.
They like to
Um,
reference that because that was in they referenced that in the first movie out of this quadrilogy where one of the characters said it
yeah.
in like a random conversation.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember if there's something else.
But well, while we're on the subject of things that are in this movie, one thing we didn't mention during the synopsis is that there actually were two separate firefights with the system support and the two RoboCops because they actually have a fight that occurs at the base of the tech thieves, and then
Oh,
after
that's right.
after
Technically,
da-
there was one with
yeah
the one. Yeah,
yeah
technically that's a two-parter.
yeah after Dave and Cable ran back to Dave's base, uh, RoboCop followed them, and then the freaking system support guys followed him there. So another firefight ensued as a result. But in the first one, the two girls from the group that are not Anne both got killed.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got killed like as soon as
As soon as all the other major characters
yeah
outside of Robo himself are gone.
yeah because what was it? Yeah, no, Robo got knocked down by a
Engine
car
block.
engine that fell on him, and while one of them was trying to get it off of him, the guys rushed in, shot the one, and the other one tried to get out of the way. Or no, she tried to take revenge because her friend got shot, but she wasn't paying attention to the ammo in her gun and realized that she's out of bullets and then got shot, which is a
Hmm.
really lame way to go.
Yeah, that was a real sad way to go, honestly.
I was just like, but you also understand how the person in a situation like that would lose focus and have not been thinking about that because they just saw their friend get killed,
Hmm.
but it still sucked. And it's like, well, the first important deaths in this four movie series that happen are like back to back and kind of dumb, honestly.
Kind of lame and a real sudden out of nowhere. It's like, oh, I guess we feel kind of sad about them.
Yeah. Um,
They're just bullet sponges now.
I do have to say the one thing I did really like about this is they did a better or them focusing on having some sort of resolution to the thing with RoboCop and his only living family member that's still around because his wife is dead at this point.
Hmm.
Um, because this is honestly something that I feel should have been done to some extent in the original movies. And apparently, from what I've heard, something in regards to his relationship with his family was supposed to be a major focus of RoboCop 2, but it was cut from the movie and never
Yeah,
never never went back to.
yeah, yeah, and honestly, I can kind of feel that because it does seem like they're trying to get something done with that in RoboCop 2, and then after like the first act, it's immediately dropped and forgotten about.
I can't
So
remember.
I would not be surprised if there's a whole bunch of footage with his wife
Yeah,
and his son that just got completely dropped just to make sure there was enough time for the action
yeah.
sequences.
I can't remember what video it was, but I was watching something after we had watched the movie where somebody was talking about changes that were made to the script before it actually got made. Like a lot of things
Mm.
got removed. Like I think a lot of things got removed that Frank Miller wanted in it because
Oh,
that was also how it ended up being split into two movies. Was they
yeah,
made
that's how it also got split into Robocop 2 and 3 because a lot of the leftover ideas went to 3, at least the ones that made sense. Air quotes.
but it's I have a feeling that what was there that felt like it should have been building to more in RoboCop 2 was probably only there because they needed to fill time to make it a proper feature length movie.
Yeah.
They probably left that in because they didn't have any other action scenes or anything, and then they're like, but the rest of that plot's gone. Okay, well, why did you build up to it and then do nothing with it? But whatever. With this though, they at least deal with his issues with his son, and there's going to be more of that in the next movie. But the fact that they actually have that showdown that you mentioned and
Hmm.
have a bit of a heart to heart about things is something that I just feel like we really need. We needed for the character. Like I'm glad it's in here because it the series is done after this because even if you want to count the reboot, that's technically a separate story.
Yeah. There's nothing else after this, pretty much, as far as canon goes at the moment.
Yeah. You know the crazy thing was there was a rumor a few years back that they were gonna make another RoboCop movie, but instead of it being a reboot, it was going to be a direct sequel to RoboCop 1 and ignore that RoboCop 2 even happened. So
That'll
it
be a
was
hard sell.
well the thing is it's not like it has something that hasn't been done before because it was basically going to be what they did with the new Halloween trilogy.
True, but you have to be. It has to be really damn
It
good.
has to
Otherwise,
yeah,
you are literally going to get treated like the remake.
it has to be really good. The people that are working on it have to really care about it. They can't just be doing it to cash in on the name.
Yeah.
I think if they could do that, it would probably do good. But the problem is, it's also a thing that's probably not easy to actually convince investors to, well, invest in.
It depends. World Cup was a huge cash cow, and still once in a while is. It's a fact of the
Yeah.
matter that you get a bunch of people who want to be cash cows too, and don't give a care about the property.
The fact that the game is done as well as it does
Yeah.
should show that.
Hmm. Yeah, that game was. I haven't even played it yet. I've heard amazing things about it. It's on my short to do list.
But on the topic of this movie, um, well, it's kind of interesting what they did with John Cable in this, due to the fact that he has something implanted in him, so where he basically has to be obedient. But at the same time, he wants revenge on OCP. He
Oh,
does.
he definitely wants revenge on OCP. He doesn't know all the facts yet, but I get the feeling something in the back of his head, he's like, something's up, and yeah, they did something to rob me of this.
Yeah. So like he doesn't probably doesn't want to do everything that David is telling him to do, but he's going along with it because he does want revenge. Because if it really came down to it, if he really felt that he was being forced to do something that he just considers evil and doesn't want to do under any circumstance, he probably would just let David kill him.
Or try to push Murphy to kill him again, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Things are going to be interesting next movie because a lot of stuff has to get resolved in that because they've built up.
A lot of loose ends all tied up at
Yeah,
once.
and it's like that's the main thing that saves the final one of these is all the other plot points that kind of distract you from the stupid virus plot that started in this movie. It'll be good. It's going to be a good ride, I think. But oh man, it is weird to try and think of things to say about this one because other than just stating what happened in it, which we already did, there's not too much to talk about because
It's still technically facing to get ready for the big final act.
I
It's
mean,
like final act part one.
yeah, like the main thing is introducing. It's basically the new villain is introduced, and then the whole rest of the movie is just action. Pretty much is what it is. I think that's why I'm having trouble
Well,
thinking of anything to talk about.
well, also technically the other main villains in OCP have now been given in their positions, so they can be the main villains in OCP.
Right, right. Because Damien,
Danny's
killed
taking
the
over
board.
CEO, and what's her name? Sarah?
Yeah,
is his vice now.
Yeah. You think that considering the position she's in, she would just deal with the fact that she doesn't like him and just try to get along with him, but like she's still fucking plotting
She's
behind
still
his back.
plotting. Yeah,
And I and
he's plotting behind her back. So
right, but he's plotting behind her back because he freaking watched her on the security camera talking about the fact that she's plotting against him. It's like he probably like
two peas in a pod.
yeah. Damien is a douchebag. There's no denying that.
Do, do,
But
do, do, do.
almost every interaction between him and Sarah, it's her antagonizing him. I think if she wasn't doing that, he would actually just let bygones be bygones and not care. But she keeps intentionally antagonizing him for no reason. I don't understand it. Like I commented when we were watching that I think that part of it is that they're so similar that they just can't
Yeah,
get along because they're too similar.
there's two pieces of cod. They're two sides of the same coin, and they just can't leave each other alone.
Um, oh man, but the one of the big things in this, aside from the David Caddick being introduced as a major villain, is the fact that Anne was at one point essentially his slave and the mother of his child, which is
Yeah.
Jordan's their child, because the same chip that he put in John Cable's head, he used to have those implanted under the skin on the head of Anne and both of her friends,
Mm-hmm.
because they made a point to bring up that they have scars on the temples of their
On their
head
temples. Yeah.
from where the chip used to be, where it's a star shaped
Where it
chip.
got fried. Yeah.
So they give you plenty of reason to really hate Kadic.
Before you see him. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's a cackling madman, so he's also kind of entertaining at times. Like
Yeah, he's got a very interesting energy to him.
when he saves John Cable earlier in the movie, he's like, "I didn't give you permission to be in my city. Be gone!" And he's just like electrocuting the mercenaries, and they're freaking out and running away because they think he's a ghost because they can't see him. And it's just like that was a thing that happened. Like it's one of those things you like the characters like him and the tech thieves. I wish we had gotten more characters like these in the bigger budget movies,
Yeah.
because it would have been interesting to actually see characters that had some kind of powers uh,
So to speak.
that are not just other cyborgs. Since most of RoboCop's enemies and everything was
There's
either
still yeah, they're still technically just normal human that just got like essentially implants.
right. I think like in a series like RoboCop, you kind of needed characters like that to flesh the universe out a little more, because it's hard to believe that somebody managed to build something like RoboCop and everybody else is just regular cronies with guns.
Yeah.
And I'm not dissing the original RoboCop. Obviously, it's just a thing
Yeah.
that once you see
There's just that technology needs to exist
yeah.
somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, it's just once you see it actually brought up in another one of the movies, you're like, man, why didn't they do that earlier? Like that feels like a thing that should have been there sooner. Like actually, that might have been a good thing for like RoboCop 3 instead of having a Japanese android show up.
Oh yeah, have somebody who's a little more intelligent and basically a boosted human that's just implants and not just complete cybernetics.
Yeah, or multiple of them, since they probably wouldn't be able to take him on one.
Yeah.
But I think we're really out of gas on this one, because I
Yeah,
can't
that'll
think of
be
anything
about
else.
it on this
I
one.
think part of it
Yeah.
is like, yeah, I didn't think about it until we started talking about it. It's like, yeah, most of the movie was just shooting.
It was good shooting,
Yes,
but it
it
is
was
mostly
good.
shooting.
It was good. There was a couple satisfying, like particularly the death of the leader of system support,
Oh
where
yeah.
where he knows John Cable's got him in his sights, and he tries to pull out like a single gun, and
Oh,
John just
oh, like
blows
the
his.
gun. He was. That's the other reference you forgot. The big gun from Robocop
Right,
One.
right, right. He had him and a couple of the other guys, though the other guys never actually fired theirs, had the same like high tech explosive rifle that Clarence Boddicker had in the first movie that we also saw in the second movie. So technically, from two movies
Yeah.
aside from this. But unfortunately, apparently, the leader of system support cannot aim for shit because the two times he fires the thing, he doesn't hit anything other than scenery. And then, he tries to use it again and it gets shot while he's holding it. So he misses he ends up just shooting the ceiling. And then John Cable blows his hand off and then beats him to death with a sledgehammer.
Just to give him a little comeuppance for earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a satisfying death as opposed to the two meh deaths that were supposed to be emotional with the two girls because
Yeah.
it was such a weird way they died. You're just kind of like, and the movie doesn't
It
give you
was.
time to process it either because
Yeah. It just
RoboCop
kind of.
has to
Oops, that happened. Now
yeah
Robocop needs to move on.
yeah RoboCop has to immediately get mad, gun down the guys that did it, and move on with the plot. So that was a thing. Uh, so Matt, you have any final thoughts about RoboCop Resurrection?
Sadly, the subplot that's underlying everything now is going to be a bit of a missed opportunity. But I feel like they're keeping up pretty well with the action, and I feel like some of the characters they've got going on here are actually still pretty strong despite any other issues going on with it, and also the usual occasional speed up thing and slowdown thing. Oh, we forgot the slowdown thing too.
Oh God, yeah, James Murphy running across the battlefield holding an EMP in slow motion, so you hear him. It's like,
Like the longest groaning, the engine
oh,
just going across the room. My
and
lord!
mentioning that reminds me, why on earth did they send a cameraman with the mercenaries
Oh,
with a
that looks like
camera?
it's a rifle.
Yeah, it looks like an assault rifle, and it's a camera. So when he's pointing it at RoboCop and asking him something, RoboCop assumes he's got a gun and just shoots him. Because of course he's going to assume that he's there with a bunch of other guys that have been shooting at him for the past half hour.
And it does appear to be geared up like the rest of them. So
Yeah, so RoboCop just freaking annihilates them, and he had no chance because he didn't even have a weapon. He had a freaking camcorder. Why? Why on earth would you make a camcorder look like that? I mean, obviously that was literally just so they had an excuse to have RoboCop shoot an unarmed cameraman. It just
I was gonna
feels like
say, in real life, that's also just an excuse to get your cameraman killed. So
so yeah, I overall enjoyed this, but I also had the thing where like I was defending this series, and then I remembered when we got to this movie, oh man, this is where my defense is gonna crumple because that stupid plot line comes up.
that dumb
That
virus.
stupid fucking virus plot line. And I will admit, like we'll see next time, they make it kind of creepy when it actually happens in the movie, but it still doesn't make any sense plot wise. That's not how viruses work. Like a computer virus technically isn't even actually a virus. It's just a program that tries to take over other programs. Whereas a virus is actually, an infection.
That tries to kill people. Anyhow,
Uh, until next time, everybody, you have a good one.
good night.